like data shows 40% of divorce rates are there in founders.
Yeah, it's also your wife's world. It's also your partner's world. If you make them feel that this is their company as well, then you're in it together.
Being a positive person is one of the biggest privilege anyone can have in their life.
I believe there is no growth in business without growing as a person from within.
I never cut roots, never lose the relationship with people, friends, who actually helps you to grow.
We must have the social network.
Your wife is extremely important, or your partners are very important. And I used to be a rock star salesperson. I was like, they used to send emails saying, hey, it's good to be Santosh. He's again hit his targets and he's crossed all these figures.
If I look at like a London perspective, it's difficult to make new friends as a guy. Like it really is, right? Everyone's kind of got their friend circle. No one really wants to speak to you. It's kind of, you're just set.
And he asked me like, Shafeekh, are you generally happy in your life? But how does it affect your, personal relationship, family? Like data shows 40% of divorce rates are there in founders, right? They have very less time for family, friends, doing hobbies. Like, so how do you? There should be some balance, right, on this, even if you're obsessed.
So in the initial startup that I was building, the cool thing is my wife also comes from a very nice business background where the entire family came from building traditional businesses. But I used to be very reserved and close to my startup or the company that I'm building. It was my thing and it wasn't our thing. This creates a lot of pressure because she's not able to see what you're going through, and what you really are going through may be stress, but might look as ignorance or not giving her like time and space because she's completely blind to what's happening in your life. Gradually, sort of like in that phase of like the last 10 years, I've become more and more transparent to her. And that really helps. I think this idea of transparency and being able to communicate with your partners and also like your other friends. I think that founders should have friends who are completely off from this topic and who are not connected to the world of founders
Yes.
at all.
I have my childhood friends.
Childhood friends who are doing completely different. They might be working in corporate. They are extremely important as well. Your wife is extremely important, or your partners are very important. But the way I personally managed that was just communicating and explaining what the company is going through. And actually, sometimes they come up with brilliant ideas, sometimes not so brilliant ideas. Let's edit this part.
We work with a lot of founders, right? So I had one of my friend. He said, Shafeekh, I'm quitting. I said, what happened? He said, I was head in one of the large corporates. I was heading commercials. And my kids go to good schools, and we go out for dinners, and we had good life. Now they don't have like good school, or we are not going out for dinners, and they're not used to this culture of when I started building company, and it's too much. They don't care what I do. All they care is whether I take care of them or not. Right.
Yeah.
So
I think it's almost a buy-in, right? Like you're going into this with hopefully the support of your network and your closest network, right? I think if you come to a decision and you have to do it together, like this is for the better of X, then you just need that buy-in. I think if people try, like you said, Santosh, if you try and saying like, this is my world and you're on the outside of it, it's just never going to work.
Yeah,
right?
it's also your wife's world. It's also exactly. Your partner's world. If you make them feel that this is their company as well, then you're in it together.
So there is Santosh, I was speaking to one of my friend. Okay, he told me a very, very interesting story. So this is where I started thinking this is very important for me to take out time out with family, friends, all these things. So what he told me is he went into a scale that he sold his company for $150 million. But during the COVID, he hit deathbed. And he was hustling, going to parties, drinking, like too much of pressure. And one day he came to home and his kid told that, Papa, you should have done a job. Then you should be at home in the evening. Right? That kind of like questioned him back. It hit him very hard. and he turned back. He sold the company, went into wellness. He reverse aged, went into fitness completely, changed the whole things. So this is also, I think, Szilvia, you could probably tell us better, like what is the optimum. Like I think we need to have time for family and friends, and even if you go like all in, right?
Like our social circle is, we are human beings, we are social beings. We must have the social network. Our spouse is the most important one. The spouse will make or break it. End of story. So I think it's very, very critical to find a common ground and work through it together. I love working with my husband, although we don't have much ground right now to work together. We met back in corporate through work, but and our aim is to, through the entrepreneurial journeys and different projects we are stepping into, to really get back into closer working together. But the way how we personally grow together is extremely important. And I think this is a big one for any and every entrepreneur. I believe there is no growth in business without growing as a person from within, right? It's a continuous battle, mentally, emotionally, physically. And this is the battlefield we are going into. And we get to fight it through. And it's like step by step by step. But if you are not willing to go on to this journey, I think those people have very little chance to survive, because the personal growth is just imperative towards business growth as well, sooner or later. And your spouse should come with you, because if it's not happening, then the gap will be bigger and bigger and bigger, and you just distance from each other. So that's very important. One second is that, as the stats say, the 5 people you spend most of your time with will create who you become. Mm-hmm. So you better choose wisely, and you better sometimes just evaluate, who are the people I really spend my time with? Am I stuck in the past with some childhood friends or something who are maybe stuck in some very different level and not willing to grow, and they just feel comfortable and they are okay to stay where they are? Or can you upgrade your network? Can you somehow find a connection to those people who are already there where you are heading to, so they can inspire you, they can mentor you? Mentorship is another very important one for entrepreneurs, so that people can really give you those food for thought, the tools, the ideas, whatever you need at any given moment that will lift you up, that will help you overcome whatever challenges you are facing at any given moment. Network, spouse, extremely important. It defines you. Think about it. All those people you spend your time with, how much do you really share together? The gaming, the life views, the sports, right? So you become friends because you have similar way of thinking, similar belief systems, but then are you able to really inspire each other? And a very good KPI for that, if you like, is to check in with yourself after spending some time with any of these people. Do you feel more uplifted when you leave? Do you feel energized and up in the sky? Or is it someone who drains your energy? And those who drain your energy, maybe take some distance and replace them by fresh blood.
It's a very interesting point. I have a mentor, and he told me last time, I'm in Portugal. Shafeekh, do you want to come? And right after the meeting, I applied for my Schengen visa. The reason why, he runs at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? He starts his day very early. We went for a couple of hiking. I started hiking with him. I started running, like ultra running. So because, the people you want to hang around with, that actually motivates you, right? And they empowers you, right? That's a very interesting perspective, Szilvia.
That's why I think Dubai is really, really a good environment for that. So I think from a guy's perspective, our social circle decreases as you get older, right? Like your childhood friends kind of just go away.
Busy.
Right? It's quite difficult. if I look at like a London perspective, it's difficult to make new friends as a guy. Like it really is, right? Everyone's kind of got their friend circle. No one really wants to speak to you. It's kind of, you're just set. Whereas in Dubai, it's super, super easy to meet people. And people have like very similar journeys, right? And that's something I love about this place. Like you can just go out, you can speak to people, people are more open. And then that, when you said about your energy, right? If there are people that don't kind of match your vibe or your energy, it's kind of easier to just, all right, fine, I'll go meet someone else, or tomorrow I'll see someone, or I'll go for coffee with someone, which is something that I haven't experienced outside of kind of this world.
I think it's very true, actually. In any other countries, if I think of back in Europe, either Germany, Hungary, any other country, people are more suspicious,
Is it?
kind of, right?
Yeah, it's like, why are you talking
you
to me?
speak to some, exactly, why are you talking? What do you want from me? You know, it's very weird. And here you have this inviting energy where people are more than willing to, like, you don't need to be so scared to go
Talk
and
to
talk to
someone.
people, even if it's a stranger.
But can you truly build that kind of friendships? Like the friendships that Shafeekh, you're talking about, your school friends. And I completely resonate. It gets more and more difficult as you age to become very close friends with someone. What I've seen is my school friends or my university friends who have stayed with me, only a couple of them, but those are my true friends where I can be myself.
And they don't judge you.
And unfortunately, in this world of startups where we are constantly sort of like faking it till we make it, kind of like we are building this impression of ourselves, these few people allow us to be our true self, allow us to completely remove that mask that we have put on for the world outside. And they say, that's not you, man. And I think those people are very important, but very difficult to nurture or build as like we grow older. I think, I have met friends like but it takes a lot of effort from both the sides to turn that friendship into the kind of friendships that we've had since childhood, for instance, right? And to upgrade your friends from that circle that you belonged to a new circle, that's a little bit of a challenge, because now this new circle, I'm not sure if they will accept the true me. But my childhood friends will accept my true me.
I would say from my perspective, like some of my closest friends are people I've made here. Just predominantly because we were kind of in the same mindset, kind of same growth trajectory. We have similar like family stories, like sports and things like that. And you're constantly with these people, right? I think Dubai is like, I don't have family here, right? So my family are back in the UK, and a lot of people that I know, their family aren't with them. They kind of just came out here with this 2-year plan, and that's turned into, for you, like 10 years, for me, 8 years. So your friends become your family. Whereas my friends back home, they're not really my family because I have my family, right? So I would say from my perspective, the friends I've made here I can be my true authentic self. They're very much more in support of your journey as a founder. They're more in support of you trying to build something because they're in the environment where they see people building things. So they're more in support. The kind of the friends I have in London, it's just a mindset thing. They're just not in that space. They're not around founders. They're not aware of entrepreneurship. And 9 to 5 is the norm, right? It's the world you're in. Whereas here, the kind of, like I said, the friends I've made here understand and appreciate and support you in that world. So yeah, from my perspective, I would say, look, my friends here are some of my closest friends.
Yeah, I think Dubai has a
That's
lot
very
of
interesting.
friends actually who water you well, right? Like
Yes.
Yeah.
Dubai has a lot of ambitious people who comes here
Yeah.
and they're supportive.
This is where the way how you grow, your circle will change to a certain extent. Like, I don't know where your childhood friends are at this stage of life, but what I know from my experience, I cut cords probably with all of my childhood friends because nobody left Hungary. I come from Hungary. I'm the only one.
Hungary must be nice.
In my
No one
not
lived
really,
anyway.
but it takes a huge courage to leave, right? Yeah. So back to my school environment, schoolmates, whatever. Like, some people went, actually 2 of them I know of, who went all the way to UK maybe for 2-3 years and then moved back home because they couldn't cope. I'm the only one really as far as I know, who left the country, went on with the journey, and then made it so far, like to a different continent overall. For them, I'm like an alien, it just does not resonate. Like, we don't have any common ground anymore. So I'm like, this is in the past and we don't truly have much to talk about. And I'm also very careful. What is it that I share even with family back home? Because it's just a very different dynamic, very different culture. They have never came out of their little bubble, the Hungarian bubble. And I still remember very well how I have been and how I felt being in that bubble. And it's not easy to understand the different perspective from that place. And I want to respect that. I want to meet those people there where they are. But for me, it's frankly limited to the very closest family. My parents, my brother, my niece, and that's it. No more friends there.
I think it's important to look at these two perspectives. This is how I look at, right? I have set of friends who I see, like, if I'm a tree, they are the roots, right? They will not let me down, and they're my childhood friends, which I always keep in touch, very close circles. And they're like spread across. Some are living in London, some are living in Dubai, and multiple countries. Wherever I go, the first I meet them. And we don't talk much often, but when we meet, go back to the normal setup, right? And then there are other set of friends who actually helps you to grow, who water you.
Yes.
Right. This is how I look at it. I never cut roots, nor never lose the relationship with people, friends who actually helps you to grow.
And these friends are also like domain experts sometimes. They can give you perspectives on things that you don't understand, and that also becomes sort of a bridge to that friendship, actually. To be very honest, I think I came from sort of like a tech background. So whenever Shafeekh wanted to talk to me about tech, then I was available to him. He was going through a very difficult sort of like tech-related issue back then when we initially met.
Yes.
And we started discussing that topic. And as I grew my startup, and it was sort of like we were raising capital from investors, I needed his perspective on the financial front. And that became a common bridge where each of our domain expertise was also helping each other.
Yes.
And we were able to do this outside sort of like a retainer, or like this is a consultant agreement or something like this. It felt very selfless on both sides. And I think that's very interesting in that kind of like friendship as well. Like, as you mentioned, when you're trying to like grow this new network, if you build that network through domain experts, I think they can really propel your trajectory completely to a new level. I was also very fortunate in the same way to find a co-founder like Jason Fairchild. Jason has been sort of like he's much elder to me in terms of like everything, like experience, the kind of startups he has built. And in San Francisco now there is this new norm where it's okay for you to have a non-operating co-founder, because they have been down this route and they have seen the kind of like problems that you will face. And they're able to tell you that like, yeah, I'm with you in this. I'm going to tell you how this is going to pan out for you as a co-founder. Because they might not be involved in your day-to-day, but they have seen this unfold again and again. So from a guide standpoint, these kind of co-founders that you choose can also really help your mental health or worsen it also. If you make a bad choice of a co-founder. I think a lot of startups fail because of like wrong co-founders basically coming together and trying to build. And I've seen it in my own circles of founders that I know. Brilliant ideas completely vanish because the co-founders were not able to get along in terms of vision, idea, and all of that. And that also stems from that idea that, hey, like this wasn't somebody, one of them really feels that this is the idea that I came in with, and the other one has not fully bought into it, or whatever that reason is. If you are in that kind of a situation, I really advocate that spot it very early, because the further you grow as a startup and as a company and these problems arise, that will turn into a very difficult divorce for you to manage. And it will create a lot of stress in terms of how will you manage this company, which is now maybe a successful company with two co-founders who are not getting along. And that creates a lot of stress in the whole mix.
Also investors. Do investors stress you out?
So, like, as I said, right, like the founder has to constantly impress everyone that he's around. And he's spending a lot of time with investors. He's spending a lot of time with his co-founders. So he can never be his true self in front of investors. Over the last 11 years, I've had the mix of both kinds of investors. One that stressed me out and one that actually sometimes just send a message and say, hey man, I've just wanted to send you this note to say, how are you doing? And those investors, actually, I say that they're like secret co-founders of you who are working in the background with you and building this kind of like idea. I've been very fortunate in having those kind of people as well. And those who just expect to see great results from me all of the time. So yeah, there are, from an investor lens, if you're looking, then you will find both kind of investors in front of you.
I'd like to double down on that because I'm smiling because I work a lot with personality types as well. And this is where it comes in, that when you know yourself and when you understand a little bit what kind of other personality types are out there, which are not it's not a very long list, but when you are able to identify someone where the person is coming from in terms of personality type, it will give you the answer why one person is freaking you out while the other one is not, while you come along with one, while not with the other one. And maybe it's exactly the opposite for you or for me.
Could be.
Right? Because it's really just the mismatches. And that's where a hell lot of misunderstandings and conflicts are born. Right? We don't understand each other. And the personality is something which is engraved in our DNA. You cannot really change that. You can learn to deal with that. You can learn to go about that in a way that it serves you more rather than harm you. But when you understand where do you stand and where other people or how other people show up, you can actually adjust the way how you respond to those people. Like the one who just want results, you will ideally respond in a very different way versus someone who is very energetic, enthusiastic, the sun is always shining, right? Or there is the other type who is all about data, details, information, every stats you wanna put across. So there are these different personality types, and it's super interesting. If any of you is interested, I can help you with that. It's very powerful, actually.
Yes,
honestly,
I never thought of this actually.
Honestly, like I have seen this work in action. I do have a very, very unique tool for that, which is a literal cartography map on the floor about the personality types. And sometimes we just put a whole team on the map, right? Like recently we had a regional...
I think co-founders should go through this.
Yeah.
Not everybody in the team.
Compatibility test before getting into this.
Yeah, not even the test, but to know yourself.
Yes.
Because when you know yourself, you immediately can better understand others, and then you cope differently. Because no need for all this conflict, all this misunderstanding. You can learn to handle that in a different way. It's just a matter of taking the skill on, right? And then when we are mapping out a whole team dynamic, where they stand, and so how they see the world, how are they being perceived, and how they perceive each other, how can they better talk to each other more efficiently so the other person will actually hear them. It's extremely powerful. And just even one session, they went on and they were like, wow, now I understand. We prevented so much of conflict by doing that. It's extremely powerful. So that's why it's all about knowing yourself, and then trying to understand the other. I love this mantra as well, using for myself another non-rocket science tool. You don't know what you don't know. So whenever someone is causing me to feel that stress, then I'm like, okay, I just don't know what that person is going through. What if, right? What, like when you are driving on Sheikh Zayed, we all have been there. Someone comes and just cuts you off because almost missed the exit. And then you get upset, angry. What do, right? Freaking out. What if you knew that the person was rushing his wife to the hospital, being in an emergency? Would you even give space and be compassionate? Empathy. Suddenly the story is changing. So again, mindset. It's all about what is the meaning that you attach to any event that is coming your way.
Interesting. And Hanish, you talked about teams, right? Do teams stress you out anytime?
Do teams stress me out? I think if any founder says no to you, they're lying. I think, look, whenever you start any company, it's about getting the right people in the right role, right? So ultimately, as a founder, you should be in a position where you completely trust your team because you've put them in the position for you to grow that business, right? But there will be times, like I think in any journey where teams will ultimately stress you out to some point. It's just how you mitigate that stress. Is it, is it a top level stress point? Is it a low stress point? You're going to find stress in any form of business. We've all gone through it, right? So it's again, building the tools to be able to deal with that. Do you talk to your spouse? And this is why I think it's really important that your family buy into what you're trying to do, because if they don't buy into what you're doing or you keep them separated, you have no outlet, right? You just have we're with our spouses or partners most of the day. So if you don't have that outlet, it's very, very challenging. And then again, to Santosh's point around things that he enjoys, right? I think you need to find something that you enjoy to almost not put the stress back on your team. They're obviously coming to you as a leader, as a founder, as a point of reason. If you can't handle that stress point through, meaningful resources, ultimately you're going to stress the team out. Ultimately their happiness decreases. Ultimately your business may not achieve what you're trying to achieve. So yes, there is an element of stress with any company. It's just as a founder, you're seen as the figurehead. So you should be able to take that stress on, but then outlet that stress in whichever kind of format you're trying to format that in.
I think also with teams, what I really felt is this kind of a beehive approach where you may be the founder, you may be the queen bee. You need to figure out a way in which everyone comes together and is playing a part in creating that kind of hive around you. If you're able to build that, stress doesn't have to be negative all the time. Mm-hmm. Actually, I have realized that between me and my teams, at least, there are many times that we thrive when there is stress. Mm-hmm. When we are going through a very difficult kind of a turmoil, maybe the company is running out of cash and I might take forever to find investors, but if the company is running out of cash, I found that in a couple of weeks, I've been able to find all the money that we need from investors. So stress can be used as actually a positive force as well. I think that we should be aware about that. Not all stress is bad stress. And with your teammates as well, when you make them feel that we are going through this stress as a team, then they will sort of try and find solutions in their little parts of their job to avoid the company to go through that stress. And something great manifests out of that. Now, the greatest products, I think, are created when companies go through that kind of stress. It takes to create a diamond, the coal has to go through a lot of stress and a lot of pressure to turn that into a diamond kind of product, right? And the same happens with startups as well. I really feel that this 9 to 6 kind of approach that an employee should come in at 9 o'clock and leave at 6 o'clock, I think this should be completely taken off. And we are cultivating, I really feel, the future of workforces, where things are very much goal-driven, objective-driven. What is the company wanting to do? What kind of new developments, new things are in front of us that we are building together as a unit? Building that results us to this. Not building that in time results us to this. This the collective needs to know as a company. And I think if that is there, you will be able to also identify that most of your team is able to do it. Some members are not able to do it. So you should also be, as a founder, in the position to fire fast. Because they're just not fitting that kind of bigger picture. They might be great people, but they are not able to share that story or that kind of passion where everybody is working. A couple of people can completely change the dynamics of the whole thing. So, yeah, like I really feel that identifying that is used to be in the corporate world an HR's job. But here in our world, the chief everything officer has to be very much aware of that.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yes, yes. And how do you what is your daily habits? What is your way of, daily routines that make sure you are, also calm, and because a lot of hustle and bustle go through in the daily life, right? And a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I think also as founders, we are also going through this flurry of like rejections also, right? Like I started my career in sales and I used to be a rock star salesperson. I was like, they used to send emails saying, hey, it's good to be Santosh. He's again hit his targets and he's crossed all these figures. And building startups, you try and approach venture capital, and like the number of rejections that a founder is going through, it's very abnormal. And it can really sort of like be a huge burden that this successful corporate guy who used to do a fine job in the corporate world is being rejected so many times. How does he accept this new norm? And I think it comes back to that conscious thing. So you have to just say that this is normal. Being rejected is okay. And on a daily basis, on my routine, unfortunately, like I have to work through the clock because our engineering sits in China where our products are created. So it starts pretty early in the morning. Our main market is Dubai, and then my co-founder sits in Los Angeles. I think one of the cool things that also like founders who have done this many times have is they have these little teams everywhere in the world who are very good at what they do. So boundaries really don't matter. That's a cool thing, but also a very bad thing because then you have to work across time zones. And suddenly you have to shut down everything that you're doing. Imagine that we are in a coffee shop. I've left my friends at the coffee shop and come to do some kind of like important work, which has come on my table. This can happen anytime. I call myself like an on-call specialist doctor who has to be there and attend to these patient topics that might arise at any given point in time. But yeah, I really, really, to be very truthful, I enjoy my work a lot. This stress topic, I don't want to over-exaggerate because I have not gone through that kind of like burnout that a lot of people go through. And I think some people also need medical attention, by the way. Stress is creating some sort of like issues where, their real health is also being affected. I think they need to also like consult for medical help as well. But if you embrace stress and use it as a positive energy, which I have done that many, many times, it can also help. It's just that if it stays with you for a sustained amount of time, that's where people break.
Yeah, I think stress it just shows it means something, right?
Yes.
So going to Santosh's point, I think you should embrace it, but have the outlet. So not try to hold it in. Like people get stressed because, especially from my perspective, if I was stressed about PALMFIT, it's because I've either lost a brand deal or I don't know where the cash flow is going or there's an issue with our team or products haven't arrived. But that just shows me that this actually means something to me. I want to build something. I want to build something with longevity. So as long as I have the outlet, so my outlet is going to the gym, right? Like I love going to the gym. So I'm not a 5 a.m. person at all. Like I was the guy who loves the lion.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
I love the lion.
But you just got to be conscious, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, right? So my outlet was the gym. So if I was stressed in the morning or whatever, 60 minutes in the gym, 2 hours in the gym, whatever it is, I come back refreshed, recharged, and then I look at kind of the day test. But like I said, I think stress, in a strange way, people see it as a negative. They see it as, I'm really stressed out. It means I'm going to go through burnout. I'm going to have issues. I'm going to whatever. But if you really sit down, I personally think that stress is something that you should embrace, but also let go at a certain amount of time, right? Because you're just showing that yourself that this project you're working on or whatever you're doing has value.
I think stress doesn't scare me. Boredom scares me, So not being able to do things that I'm really passionate about, that scares me more than... I think that's why like founders are a different breed of people.
Yes, yeah.
And I think this is where actually emotional intelligence comes in, because stress, I fully agree, there is positive and negative stress. But then what does your emotion tell you, right? Do you feel angry, frustrated, upset, anxious? What are the emotions that are coming up? Or is it more of a bit of pressure, comes with excitement? When you are able to call it out, you can better categorize whether it's a positive or a negative kind of stress. And I fully agree and experience the same, that the positive stress can really propel you forward. It just gets you into action, keeps you on the toes, and it definitely comes with a spark of excitement. And in that state, you are able to look at problems as challenges. And you can turn it into like a project that, okay, now I'm gonna achieve something because I faced this challenge and I'm gonna find a solution for it. So it keeps you in the action. Whereas the negative stress, and this is what you wanna watch out for, comes with all those real negative emotions which drain your energy, which takes you down, which makes you sick. When you feel completely frustrated, miserable, all the time down, moody, just negative through and through, easily upset, easily reacting to anything that comes your way. You see it as a problem, see it as an issue, unable to classify it as a challenge and something to find a solution for. So all these little shifts make a huge difference. And that's when you want to watch out.
Yes.
Whether you call it burnout or not. I mean, I think this burnout, similarly like wellness and anxiety and a couple of other things, became like a buzzword.
Yes.
And we throw it left, right, and
Yes,
center
yes.
without really having a meaning behind it. So probably the burnout is really where someone is just completely breaking down from under the weight of stress.
Yeah.
Physically, it's comes with the disease, it comes with some mental serious issue, whatever it is. But maybe it's easier for people to relate to the stress factor and to the negative stress factor. So when someone finds himself or herself continuously reacting, being moody, having that knot in the stomach all the time, or feeling that your heart is just racing all the time and you just don't know where to go with this energy, these are the signs that you want to pay attention to. And if you feel that more frequently than not, then maybe start looking for help and start finding your tools and ways of dealing with it, because it doesn't have to be this way. Life doesn't have to happen to you. You can sit back into the driver's seat. It's just finding the way back.
The problem is founders are not willing to hit the eject seat also. The eject button is available. It's okay if this doesn't work.
Very interesting,
Life
yeah.
doesn't end there. And they just go deeper and deeper into that cave where they know that it's not working out for them. It's burning them out. If you find yourself in that kind of like situation,
It's okay
Like
to
it's-
drop the baby. This
Yeah,
is what
like
one of the
actually-
Harvard
Exactly,
professors.
yeah.
the
Yes.
war
Mention.
stars are valued by all venture capital firms as well. If you fail to build, I proudly wear this badge that my second startup, like I had to completely close down. I openly talk about it to even potential investors. I say that, yeah, we had to completely shut down during the COVID time. We tried to pivot many times, but we failed at it. These scars make you human and they make you real. And if investors don't like that, not everything that you start will turn into gold. Maybe they're not investors for you. But I think true investors value that you have learned to fall and pick yourself up. I think
Oh, yes.
the falling part is also important. But the only thing is that you should know that now you have fallen and this is the end. Because unfortunately, I've seen a lot of founders dig that cave deeper and go deeper and deeper into eventually where they really have health problems as well, and they stop to seek help. And I really feel that the ecosystems that are nurturing startups, they have someone like you, Szilvia, who can be like a guide, who is present in these entities, that founders can very openly go and have conversations to, just as a friend, not as seeking help. And someone of that kind of like, a person who is able to show path, I call like a mentor, or like a mental health mentor, or whatever this tag can be. I think that's very important, because you don't know where you are in that particular stage, how deep you are in, and when you know, it's already too late.
That's the point. Why wait?
Yes.
That's why I'm pointing out these kind of emotions, because maybe that's the easiest to identify within yourself. When you are willing to look into the mirror just a tiny little bit, it will give you the answer. And it really is just a practice of the skill to, and you ease on yourself so much, when you learn a couple of tools in emotional intelligence, in mental health, in physiological health and well-being, then with just a couple of minutes, even every day, your whole world can change. You can feel so much better, so much stronger, so much more energized. So why not give you that gift of being strong and bringing your mission to fruition, versus why do you have to choose the path to break down completely? It doesn't have to be this way. And I think this is a belief that it's one of my mission to take out of people's head, that, oh, you are an entrepreneur, then you're gonna burn out one day anyway, or you're gonna break down, or you're gonna end up in whichever disease, or, like, it really doesn't have to be this way. But when are you willing to stand up for yourself? Because there is solution, and it doesn't require a lot of time, because it's probably one of the biggest objections, right? Like, oh, I just gotta hustle 24/7 and 20 hours a day, and I don't even sleep and whatnot. Fine, take half an hour every day to learn a little bit of something for your own self, because when you don't exist, then how will your legacy exist, or how will that come to stand, or what will your family do without you, or your kids, or whatever? Don't you deserve that attention from yourself, right? And it doesn't have to take long. Sure, you can sit 10 hours a day, work on yourself, but if you do just half an hour, it will be so much more than doing nothing.
And my friend, this friend, I took him for a session with some group of friends, and someone asked, like, what you do differently if you do a startup again, because you had a big exit, big success story, right? He said, I'll integrate wellness into my life and startup life. And it's like brushing the teeth, it's non-negotiable for me. So that kind of changed, my whole perspective of thinking things. If you make it as a non-negotiable, that you don't give up on these things, right? And it kind of go on. Like, I make sure I, every day write journals. My worst day is if I just wake up from the bed and run into the office. That's my worst day.
Yes.
So, the me time is the morning, right? And I do journaling, and also like weekends, weekends are like just, you don't do much output, but I just like back up and, maybe go to mountains or just travel outside the country for 2 days and come back on Monday. And you do a lot of things in that 2 days and you feel like much blessed.
Energized.
Recharged. Yeah.
I think also celebrating small wins is quite important, right? Because
I
think
Hanish.
all of us as founders, we have this end goal, this end vision, right? And I mentioned it before around the goalposts. We celebrate these massive monumental achievements, and look, we've all had it, right? But we've also had these small wins, and you just sometimes just pass that over. It's not good enough. It's not big enough. It's not celebrated enough. Even this, right? Coming on a podcast for us as PALMFIT is our first podcast. It's a small win for us, but it's something we will celebrate, right? Because I think if you don't celebrate the small wins with any business, I think they're the more valuable ones, right? Because you don't think about them. They're just very impulsive. They happen. So
I think what Szilvia mentioned I think very resonating to what you said, Hanish, is having a practice of gratitude, right? This I keeps every day that, I wake up and think 3 things that I did good, I'm happy about yesterday. Even the worst days, I have like 3 small things to be happy about, and that keeps me going on every day.
Yeah, so important.
I think also this is something that we are also trying to build in our teams as well. The win doesn't even have to be founder wins. It can be any teammate's win.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it can be small wins that the team has had. And you sort of like come down, you take off the badges that you wear, that you may be a CEO or a co-founder. You are just another part of that team that you have built. And
Yes.
somebody's win is everybody's win. And we can celebrate that in a very small way. But the team comes together and celebrates wins. I think that team has so much more potential to excel and really achieve great things. So little wins of your team members also, if you can celebrate, that's very powerful.
Yes, we have this practice on our bi-weekly meetings. We do catch up with because we have a large team. It's too much 100 people team.
Yeah.
So but we spend like 15 minutes of time just appreciating all good work every team does, and everybody just talk about like the good things, even the smallest thing, because this doesn't go into like getting token of awards and things. No, nothing, just like simply he has done a good job, and I really want to take this stage to appreciate him.
Yeah, I think Shafeekh also, like you personally sending that note. Sometimes we founders think that they know that we believe that they are doing a good job. But, those words that you say in front of a team, or even a message in your company WhatsApp group that comes from you as a founder in front of everybody else, just brightens their day. And
it costs
also shows
nothing.
the spirit of the company, that we celebrate little things together as a company. And this is something that I've consciously tried to do, that I know that my team members know that they are doing a good job, but still I will acknowledge. Even with like my co-founder, for instance, Amit, he doesn't need my acknowledgement for me to say good job. But whenever he's had wins,
Okay,
I've been very
interesting.
open to the idea of saying that, man, Amit did a fantastic job today. And sometimes I even feel a little bit small saying that in front of my co-founder, because his wealth of experience is greater than me, and he's maybe achieved greater accolades than what I have in life. But that's okay. This is something that brings a smile to him, makes him feel happy, and that's really infectious. Then then he does that with other people as well, and that kind of like positive energy.
Yes.
This is how you build a
is-
culture.
Yeah, I think that transcends
Yes.
into a culture.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And if you reflect on it from your own experience, whenever anyone ever acknowledged what you did, how did it feel?
And I always feel, one of the thing, even not a founder or any person, right? If you are an individual also, being a positive person is one of the biggest privilege anyone can have in
Yes.
their life. Right.
I think you will also see this in your teams of like, there are some people who may not be great at what they do, but they bring in a bundle of positive energy. These are very important to sort of like nurture, because I think that they can turn into great team managers. The team will require that kind of positive energy when you're not there, to sort of like get everyone together. And then there are also those who actually bring some negative energy, who always find the problem and try and say that there is no way we can solve this. This we should eliminate.
Fire them fast.
Fire them fast. Poison in the well.
Yes.
Yes. As unfortunate as that sounds, we don't have the luxury or the time as entrepreneurs to train, teach, cultivate new habits out of them. They will have a resistance to change. As you rightly mentioned, Szilvia, maybe we are just not compatible with each other as a company and as that employee. And maybe his energy works somewhere better. We don't have that time to invest and sort of like change course for them.
And it's a favor for that person as well, because you will not tell that that person enjoys the work while is not able to perform, or no one can really appreciate what they are doing. So probably they will thrive more in a different environment.
And one of my ex-founders, when I walked into the room, we were just casually talking, and he asked me like, Shafeekh, are you generally happy in your life? I said, why are you asking this question out of blue?
Conversation on a Monday.
Yeah. So I said, I'm happy, generally, like, I don't have any problem. I'm happy with everything that I have in my life. I appreciate. I asked, why you are asking this question like out of blue? No, I want to test out, whether generally people are positive.
But I think your reaction sums it, right? Like no one's talking about wellness. No one checks in with anyone. If anyone asks you how you're doing, it's like, why are you asking me that? There's something wrong with what I'm doing. Should I be feeling X, Y, Z? So I think we need to have more of these conversations where people are talking about wellness. People are talking how employees feel, because I don't think we're doing enough of that at the minute.
Yes. And I think we need to have more positive environment culture, even in a company,
Yeah, and these are the small acts how you can embed it, because basically the three very core things that any human being wants is just to be seen, to be heard, and to feel that they matter. That's all we all want in the ground level. So how can you have people feel seen, feel that they matter, right? That's showing care. And it doesn't cost anything. And if you ask around, and several statistics show that too, that when you ask employees, would they appreciate more a bit of a paycheck raise or a bit of a more acknowledgement and appreciation? They vote for appreciation. They just want to know that what they do makes sense, it matters, it gives some meaning to the organization. That's really what they want. So it will fuel a lot more the loyalty, the engagement than anything else.
Interesting. Awesome. And I think also very important that every founder, listening this podcast also, we forget that we are in a podcast, by the way. We are just casually speaking. But to take breaks and, to not hustle like all the time, right? Just important to have me time, family time, friends. I do have certain calendars, like Saturday night I'm with friends, Sunday with family, like very, very calendared approach. So it actually covers everything, and I meet my friends often. So it kind of balanced me out all the time.
And you have a successful business. So it is possible to have all, right? It's just...
I think it's very powerful, Shafeekh. Like, I think we have to sort of like consciously create that routine.
Yes.
That Saturday is my friend's time. That
And my friends
that
don't
half
call
an
me,
hour time
before that. Like, they call me on Saturday. Like, I don't even need to call them. They call me like, where are you?
train
Like,
them.
Yeah.
when you're forcing that system of like taking a break through that idea of a routine, you can call it a routine or whatever that is, that really will like allow you to like have that kind of disconnect. I really don't think that that's a disconnect at all from like your work or whatever, but it'll really help in like your mental well-being and all of that.
Yes.
Build it into your routine. Yeah, I completely double click on that.
Anyone? Hanish, Szilvia? We
Final
all are
words?
talking. Yes, final words.
I think Szilvia is the best
Szilvia has a
person.
lot of experience in studying this.
I have a 3 hours final words if you like. No, I really hope that we were able to give a couple of ideas, insights, and a bit of an inspiration to those founders out there who are eventually struggling, and give them a bit of a spark that it doesn't have to be the misery only. There is a choice, and there is a mental reset possible and available to anyone, no matter at which stage you are at. So I think this is also an invitation for those entrepreneurs and founders that beliefs can be shifted, the norm can be set by them, and prioritizing well-being, prioritizing ourselves, no matter what's the business we are running, no matter what's the expectations of the investors. Like, nothing else matter more than your own life, your own being, and to create that energy, that inspiration for your team and for your company to be able to grow and achieve the sky. Even the sky is not the limit, right? Because that's how anyone can really thrive. You cannot thrive in misery. It's just not possible. But when you are able to thrive as a person, as a leader, and show the way to your organization, that's gold.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining this session today.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having us.
It was amazing. Thank you very much.
Everyone did great job. Wonderful.